This week, we are talking about something that strikes near and dear to every technician's heart: tools. Welcome to the show where we tackle the tough questions submitted by installers, project managers, estimators, ICT personnel, and anybody and everybody in the ICT industry. We are connecting at the human level so that we can connect the world. If you're watching this on YouTube, would you mind hitting the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified when new content is being produced? If you're listening to us on one of the audio podcast platforms like Google Play or one of the other many others that we're on, would you mind leaving us a 5-star rating? And if it's not a 5-star rating, let us know what we can do to make this a 5-star rated show. Those couple little steps helps us take on the algorithm, which helps us educate, encourage, and enrich the lives of people in the ICT industry. Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What are you doing? We do a live broadcast on TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and soon Instagram. But I can hear you. But Chuck, I'm driving my truck home on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. I can't be watching the phone. That's okay. They are recorded. And you can watch them at letstalkcabling.com on the live stream tab. And finally, while this show is free and will always remain free, if you would like to support this show to help defray some of the costs, you can become a Patreon member. I just shipped out Patreon a fiber stripper tool to many people on our Patreon list. You can subscribe to our podcast through the email subscription. You can even also become a corporate sponsor as well. As I mentioned, one of the subjects near and dear to the hearts of many technicians is tools. Right? We all like to have tools, new tools, cool tools. We even find them in the ceiling. So today's show, I'm tackling a question that I get asked quite often. Chuck, I'm new to the industry. What tools should I buy? Or Chuck, I'm doing this. What tools should I get? So I'm bringing on some tool experts. I've invited Jonard Tools to come with us today. Jonard, how you guys doing today?
All
Good.
right. How's
Thanks for having
everything?
us.
Not too bad, not too bad. So for those who might have been living under a rock for the last 5 years, who may not know, because you guys are really good on social media, but for somebody who may be anti-social media, may not have never heard of Jonard Tools, tell us who you are and who is Jonard.
Wayne, why don't you fire away?
So we have the spiel. Jonard has been around since 1958. We're a private held company. We pride ourselves in telecommunication products. That's how our backbone is. Our claim to fame is wire wrapping tools, and we've slowly evolved the company from wire wrapping all the way to fiber to low voltage communication tools. So you can find our stuff on the shelf across the country through various distributors. But yeah, we're here to help.
Very cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit, each of you tell us about 30 seconds about each of you so the audience can get a good, comfortable feeling about you guys so they know that they can trust you. Why should they listen to you about tools?
No problem. So my name's Ed Scirbona. I'm Senior Director of Engineering here at Jonard Tools. I've been in the tool industry for about 35 years. I've been designing tools and modifying existing people, bring tools to market for well over 25 of that 35 years. My humble beginnings were doing wire wrapping at a company called OK Industries, and 2000 Tools bought OK Industries. So I was a wire wrapping guru. And slowly from there, obviously, wire wrapping was very prevalent, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and started disappearing. So we started switching our product line first towards the cable TV industry, okay, doing a lot of coax product. And then probably the last 10 plus years, maybe even a little longer, we've had a heavy focus on fiber optic tools. So this is what I do every day, looking at tools to bring to market that help people just make their job easier, faster, more efficient, and most importantly, safer.
I bet you there's a lot of people out there pretty jealous that you get to talk about, play with tools all the time. I mean, that's just most technicians are
It,
just, huh?
it is the singular thing that gets me up in the morning looking to go to work saying, man, I get to go in, I get to mess around with this tool, I actually get to, drop test it, or maybe we're going to do some finish testing on it and stuff like that, or just solving someone's problem. We deal a lot with the cable manufacturers directly, and they come to us with, we designed a new cable and then start producing it. We don't know how to open it. So, and you can't believe how often that happens. So,
Oh, no, I believe. I believe.
Yeah, the tools are always an afterthought.
Yes. Yes. Wayne, what about you?
So mine is a modest beginning. I started pulling cable for my dad's company when I was 8 years old. He is an electrician. He had his own company. I guess that would be in the early 80s when I started pulling wire, maybe the late 70s. I'm not really telling my age here. But from there, it kind of grew. I decided I didn't want to work that hard for a living when I was in my 20s because I was tired of being cold in Ohio pulling wire. And I told my dad he worked too hard for his money and I was going to go into distribution, which I got into a distributor selling tools. And then from there, my love continued. I went to work for a company no longer around that makes tone and probes. And from there, I got recruited to come to OK Industries in 1998. And I've been there ever since. So like I said, I do have a love for tools. I have a garage full of tools and bins full of tools. So I'm the kind of guy that goes to Home Depot or Lowe's and buys a tool because I don't have it, knowing that someday I'll need it.
It's funny you say that. Anytime I walk through a big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's, you pick the name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if I don't need a tool, I always walk around the tool section and I'm always paying attention. What's coming out? What's the prices are? And I love the fact that you got Ed with the designing side, and then you with kind of like the real experience. Even though your dad was an electrician, we won't hold that against you.
Yeah, we did do low voltage though.
That's high voltage. Low voltage.
We did low voltage too, though.
Yeah.
So
it just I think it just shows the depth that the company has. So I think the audience should listen to you guys. That's just my personal opinion. So let's ask you a few questions about tools, because this is probably one of the most commonly asked questions. Matter of fact, it was on one of my live streams, not before COVID. Before I caught COVID, was on one of the live streams. So let's say there's some guy out there. I just did a series on a job versus career, and I put it out on the interwebs. And so this guy, he's had this job flipping hamburgers, and he says, I want a career. And he finds this thing called structured cabling, ICT, information communication technologies. He says, you know what? That sounds like a good career path. And he gets hired on by a company to be a brand new person. What tools do you think that technician, well, I shouldn't call him a technician because he's not a technician yet, that installer, what tools should that installer maybe buy if he's actually decided this is going to be his career path?
So it's broad. One of the things I like to actually point out too is you have your pocket techs, guys who like to run back and forth between their vans all day long, and then you guys have guys who like to carry tools on their hips, and then you have guys like wear buckets, and you have guys with backpacks. So I'm a backpack guy. I would say between a backpack and a tool belt, but typically you need your basic screwdrivers, pliers, cutters, wire strippers. From there, your snips, and like I said, it depends on what kind of cable you guys are running. And if you're doing in termination, you need your crimping tools for the appropriate connectors you're doing. And then don't even get me started if we start talking about wire installation. But for your basic tech, it's the everyday screwdrivers, pliers, wire strippers type of stuff.
Yeah, I would add to that by saying in the very beginning, the guy was flipping a hamburger the day before. He's probably not going to know a lot of what to do with those tools. So screwdrivers, pliers, because he can just be helpful by having them handy. Um, some basic cable prep tools, jacket stripper and the like, your snips. I even question giving him a knife because he probably doesn't have skill using that and knows what to watch out for and what not to. So you want to start him off very simple until you get comfortable with what he's able to do. And he starts to grow and sees what you're doing, and you're talking to him as you're doing your cable prep and the like, and he's starting to see. Then you start handing him some tools and move on from there. Then I would get into crimping and the like.
So
Go from there. But first day on the job, keep it simple.
I would like to say that I'm a big proponent of keeping knives out of everyone's hands. We've worked on tools over the years of designing products to open up cable to get the knives out of people's hands and make it safe. I know I have a nice scar on my hand right here where I put a knife through my hand when I was young. Like I said, there's easier ways to do that. I always cringe, but we've been in this industry for a long time, and we know guys who live and die by a knife. But like I said,
That's why I mention it, because
yeah,
no matter what, there are always people there. No, I got my handy knife. I really prefer you don't use your handy labels, please. But
yeah.
They do.
Well, Wayne, you did say that you've been doing this since the 80s or so.
Yes.
Well, back then, we used to terminate a lot of coax, a lot of twin ax and stuff like that. And a lot of those were solder on connectors.
Right.
And so one of the common things to do is, until you become proficient with solder, is you had to have an X-Acto knife to get off the excess. And this is just a personal thought here. I never cut myself with an X-Acto knife until I put a fresh blade in it. As soon as I put that fresh blade in it, you can guarantee within the first 20 minutes, I'm going to cut myself somehow. Say that's why they make electrical tape. It's the electrician's bandage, right? And I like the fact, Wayne, that you point out, and my response when people ask me this question is, like you said, the basic hand tools, the screwdriver, stuff like that. Maybe invest in a pair of snips, maybe even a cable stripper, because they're not that expensive, right? Only invest in the stuff that if you decide a year or two down the road, I want to be an IT guy, not a cable guy. You can still use that stuff, right? That's why I kind of care. But I like the fact that you touched on, but I didn't even think about this. The foundation. You mentioned some guys like backpacks. Some guys like the proverbial 5-gallon bucket hanging off the side of their side. And then there's the guys like me who I couldn't tell you how many pairs of jeans I had that's got a hole worn out in the pocket from my snips being inside of them. Right.
Yes.
So you're right. I think a good foundation is, not right away, but maybe within the first 6 months is start thinking about the platform you're going to want to use to carry your tools, because it's more expensive to change it out afterwards than it is to buy it right the first time. Yes. And I always suggest, to technicians, buy the best quality you can afford. Don't go the cheap route, because the cheap route, you might save a dime or $1 today, but you're going to replace a good. I have a punch tool that technically it's in my brother's possession because I loaned it to him years ago, but there's still the original punch tool from when I got in this industry in the 80s, and it's still going strong. Invest in those tools, right? So let's move up the ladder a little bit. Let's say this guy, he's been in the industry for 6 months. He's really, I shouldn't say guy. That's not very inclusive of me. Let's say this installer's been in the industry for 6 months now, and they're like, okay, I like this. They've got their strippers, they got their snips, they've got maybe their screwdrivers and stuff. What's the next level? What do you think they should be getting?
So testing. I think that's really the phase that you want to get to, because you have your guys who are going to be running the cable and terminating, and then I think the testers are more qualified. They spend more time in the craft. They'll have an idea of how the whole system works. And like I said, I've always loved test equipment. Ed can contest to that. I'm a really big test equipment proponent. I'm always asking for us to design, make test equipment better. But one of the hardest things to do, and this is going way back to the 90s, is when you're in a cabinet, say, and someone's ran wires in front of you and they don't label their cables properly. and you're trying to get out of there and get to the next job, or just get paid, and then you have to actually locate cables and terminate and plug them in. Tone and probe is a craft. It's not a science, and there's wrong ways and right ways to do tone and probing. And I've had enough fortunate to have people that know what they're doing who taught me back in the 90s. There's so many different things that you can do with tone and probes other than just hooking up to a cable and going. I always tell people, find an earth ground, and an earth ground could be your best friend. Have them sit there and hold one clip while you hook to a wire. The other thing too is if you're in a noisy environment, find a probe that has some filters built into it. And then the human body is a good filter. A lot of people don't realize that you can put the probe up to your ear and grab the wires with your hand and actually filter the noise out through your body. So there's little tricks that you can teach people. But like I said, guys that want to stay in the industry, I always say, you know what, learn how to test, because you're going to be that guy that everyone calls to fix the problem. And some people don't want to live that life, but that's the life I like. I want to be that guy that comes in and fixes things and finds solutions. But what we see on social media now are people out there just saying, hey, look at this, look what I'm dealing with. Like, I actually love reading that stuff. So, because I've been there. But like I said, my motto is leave the job better than what you found it. And that's the biggest key. If you label your cables, make the job easy for the people behind you. Terminate your cables correctly. Test your cables before you leave. So
took the words out of my mouth. That was the thing I was going to say. When you do the job, test it, know it's right before it's done. And there are plenty of tools and testers out there to do it, from inexpensive to very expensive, depending on what it is you want to do. At the very eliminating a cable, test it, know it's right before you move on. Don't leave it to the next guy.
Oh, that's another hot subject right there.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you test every cable you install? You want to start an argument on the internet? Get on there and say, I don't test all my cables. That'll start an internet argument.
So we have an answer for that. So if you're in a job for 6 months, you don't need a certifier.
Right.
There's modular testers out there that check polarity and continuity. They cost $25, and we sell some low end stuff. You're just checking polarity and continuity, making sure your cable's wired properly from one end to the other. That's such a simple thing to do. And like I said, it's not hard. I mean, we probably have 20 videos of us doing different testing on different modular testers. Invest in something, a $25 investment is going to keep you from rolling your truck back to fix something.
Right. And the certifier is really going to be something a company's usually going to buy, not necessarily the technician.
Correct.
Because they can range all the way up to, let's be honest, 20 something grand.
Right.
They're a lot cheaper than that.
You can go insane with it. Absolutely. Your job at the end of the day, you're an installer. Install the cable, install it right, know what you did works. Not install and run.
And label your cable.
It's your name that's on that, and as Wayne pointed out. I'm sorry.
No, I said that's what it's all about. You're right. Your name is on it. Have pride in what you do. That's why for example, the cable cone that we sell. What's its goal in life? Its goal in life is very simple. Make your job look professional and neat, so that when someone comes in and looks, say, this guy's showing pride in his work, showing craftsmanship.
Ding, 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 ding.
Absolutely.
I know you guys are heavy on social media, so I know you guys know the big players, like Sean Rep and All Green Lights and all them. And when I teach classes in my day job during the day, I usually show those pictures, and some people are like, yeah, that looks really good. Then they're like, why would I spend that much time on cable dressing? I'm like, because if you're willing to do that kind of quality there, then they're going to be doing super quality behind that faceplate. And that's less times that truck's got to roll out to come and fix something, because you're paying attention to the details. Now, another hot controversial in the industry is, well, do you use Velcro or do you use cable combs? And I find it about 50-50. There's a lot of older guys that still like to dress with Velcro and just kind of push it out, and then a lot of newer guys like using the cable combs. I don't know. What do you guys think about the cable combs?
You want me to start? Or you? So
I'll jump in as needed.
So we've had the cable comb for like 2 years now, and we've gone to probably 30, 40 trade shows, and a lot of people are actually using the cable comb, which I was surprised because we do sell a lot of them. But I'm surprised at the people who don't know about the cable comb and how much easier it is, or how easy it makes your life to use the cable comb. So I'm a big fan of the cable comb. I have seen, we had a closet at work, the old building that looked like, I could say a lot of bad things, but it was a bad job. I mean, there was cables everywhere. Um, it's not that hard to clean the mess up to begin with, but that's saying it should never get to that point, in my opinion. Because guys come in and lay cables over other people's work, and they don't dress their cables and make them pretty or whatever. The cable comb can fix all that. So I'm a big fan of the cable comb.
No, I totally agree with that. And beyond that, using it can actually help you be even more organized, because you can use it when you're branching off sections and the like. You're able to use the comb and keep it neat instead of everything being jumbled and you see that twisted mess go off in one spot. You can lay it into the cable comb and dress it and comb it and have it neatly branched off. And as the bundle gets bigger and bigger, you just keep laying that in there, and it's so organized. So you immediately know where to branch it, what's going on over here. This belongs right over up into this rack. It's your life easier, and the byproduct of it is everything is neat. When people see your cable, they see how you are and they say you're a professional. It's a first impression, lasting impression kind of thing as well.
I've said this on more than one occasion. Customers equate quality visually, and I think the reason there's such a pushback to doing cable dressing beautiful. Well, number one, if you go back to the old central office days, those guys, they would cable dress anything and everything, and it would look beautiful. And that's where it comes from. But I think the pushback is, in order to cable dress, you got to think ahead. You got to think about your bundle sizes, and you got to think about the routings. And do you want this one coming in this hole as opposed to that hole, which is going to lay out better? And that requires some forethought. And I think that's where the pushback really kind of comes from.
It does. It definitely requires some forethought on it, and I agree with that as well. Sometimes people just want to rush and move and get done.
Well, let's be honest. There are some companies out there that are pressuring their technicians, get this done. Aren't you done yet? And that's a battle that the technician in the field's got to make that decision. Do I just get it done and dirty, and that way my boss is happy, or do I get it done right and beautiful? And it might take a little bit more time, but again, you'll win more customers that way. And in my opinion, you'll have more opportunities to get non-bid work if you get that reputation as someone who does that quality work out of the gate. And then you can actually even charge more for your work. Winner, chicken dinner. Boom.
It's funny you said that. There's something going on in the industry right now, when I think with the housing market starting to slow down. But Ed, I think you saw it too. We were looking at a new build recently, and I was always taught to run cable in straight lines and pretty angles, even though it's behind drywall. You never see it. And we were shocked to see what's going on today. There's no straight lines. It's the quickest path from point A to point B is going on. So I don't know if that's
shortest path, least amount of cable pulled, save money.
Yeah. And so like I say, I think there's a lot of that. We're seeing that where companies are saying, hey, get the job done.
Yeah, well, I think that's because we haven't, as an industry, haven't been good. And we were good initially at telling people, hey, use the hallways, do the straight lines, do your sweeping bends. But we haven't been really good at that over the last 10 or 15 years. And you mentioned in residential, that's a different animal. That's a different animal than popping a tile on a commercial ceiling, right?
Yes.
Then you may not necessarily be able to run the most straightest path, but you still got to pay attention to your bend radiuses. You still got to pay attention to somebody sent me pictures the other day where they ran a 4-pair cable and they used the adhesive tie wrap buttons and tie wrapped it to the wall coming right down in front of an electrical receptacle. And they thought that was fine. I'm like, no, that's not fine. That's not fine. It's not fine.
Yeah. But so, cable management's a whole nother topic. We could go
that's a whole different show. That's a different show.
Yeah.
Different show. So tools can be, cheap and they can be expensive. When I say cheap, I don't mean cheap as I'm talking about good quality tools. Okay, they're not always, it's $500 to $1,000, $10,000. You can buy a really good pair of snips for 30, 40 bucks. You can buy a good toner for 100 bucks, 130 bucks. You can buy a cheap toner for less than that.
Yeah.
So that kind of always is going to draw some kind of a point where what tool should the technician be responsible for buying, and what tools should the company be responsible for providing? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you ask 10 technicians that question, you're going to get 13 different answers, right?
Like all of them. They should buy all my tools.
Well, exactly.
That would be the number one.
Right. So my feeling is hand tools should be the technician, right? The screwdrivers, maybe pliers, socket set, snip, stuff like that. What do you think a company should provide for their staff?
We already touched on the high-end test equipment for sure. And then we start getting into your power equipment, the drills. But I think those are two. But I think I don't know. I carry my tools from job to job, so this has never been an issue. When my dad's company, guys would buy their own tools completely. But there were specialty tools like the hole punch stuff. We're talking $300 or $400 worth of equipment. The company provides that kind of stuff. So I think it's more of a dollar value more than anything. When you start getting a couple $100, the companies, and then it's not a tool that everyone needs where it can be passed around. Right. That's another thing. But
I would also say any specialty
right.
for that job. The technician needs a technician. So if it's needed, I would think that companies should provide that. I think that's a fair way to look at it.
So let me ask you this, Ed, since you've got wire wrapping experience. I've run into this issue in the past. Should the technician buy their own wire wrap tool, or should the company purchase that for them?
For today's world, I would say the company should provide it, because that to me is a specialty item in today's world. You're not, if you're running into it wherever you went, wherever
so their thing
at,
too is
really old, and chances are your job is to rip it out.
we do have the hand held stuff that guys can afford to buy themselves, but like the manual stuff,
definitely less expensive. But if you're walking into an old telephone closet, 100 pairs there that you gotta take off, you don't want to do it with the handheld stuff. That's where you need either the manual squeeze gun, which 100 pairs is about the most I would want to do in a day. Getting one of the either battery powered or electric powered, which are truthfully significantly more expensive. You're up into a couple of $100, $300 range, and then you need the bit and sleeve for that, and that's another $50, $60 on top of it. It adds up, and that's a special. To me, that's a specialty case.
I think
the world, like I said, wherever you go and you run into that, I do realize probably in cities, I'm thinking there still have some of that in it, and in rural areas, you might find it to be much more prevalent, just because there's nothing out there.
Another area that you run into it, and this is where I ran into it was a major company, but the person who designed the data center was an old Ma Bell guy.
Yeah. Okay.
So everything coming in had to be wire wrapped.
We like that.
And my guys were like, wire wrap? What the heck is that?
What the hell is that?
I'm like, and I used to have a wire wrap tool, but I gave it up a long time because I went to the 66 tool and I didn't care about it anymore, right?
Right.
And you hit the nail on the head. If you're doing more than 100 pair, you don't want that manual one because you come home with a case of carpal tunnel syndrome.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And truth be told, at our factory, we had people that sat there, tested those things all day. What do you think? Because they were there 25 years doing that. And that's no different than an old frame tech.
Right.
Okay. Only that person's probably doing even more than an old frame tech person, because they have quantity they got to get out and get through and stuff. So yeah, we in the factory, we were seeing exactly the same outcome as an old CO tech.
There you go.
And that's where one of the last things we did, we designed a updated battery powered wire wrap tool and electric powered wire wrap tool. Now this is going back to and we did it for AT&T to deal with some of their health health concerns and liability issues with that. Okay, and that was done, and we were brought in to do that.
That's where that repetitive stress came.
Yes.
That whole terminology came to us.
Yeah. And that doesn't just happen with wire wrapping tools. I mean, that also comes with 66 tools punching down all day long and you know, doing face plates all day long. And that you know,
absolutely.
That's where exactly. So you guys are a pretty innovative company. You guys always have lots of cool stuff coming out. What is new on the block for Jonard?
So before we answer, I want to tell you something. Sorry.
Oh, sure.
So you're talking about what tools guys should get, and I think we stress this at Jonard. I know there's some other companies out there. Pay for a warranty. So like all of our tools have warranty, and so like a lot of times they're buying from other sources online, and they're just buying a tool because it's $5 instead of $10. Look for the companies that have warranty on their products. Jonard has a lifetime warranty on our products. So if you arc a pair of pliers, call Ed and he'll give you a new set.
Does that even cover misuse? What if they use a pair of 9s as a hammer?
Yeah, we get that. And like I said,
we get that. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know what I want to do? Establish some goodwill.
Nice.
Okay. So think about it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy used it as a hammer, and you could see it right away. You know it, okay? But I want to make that guy happy. I want when he shows up to work the next day, guys, look what I got. I had that old beat up thing. I beat with a hammer and use it as a hammer. They sent me a new one. You know what? It's a small price to pay to make somebody's day.
That's word of mouth advertising.
Company.
Yeah. So like I said, not only John, but just look for the companies that have warranty on their products and not just the cheap stuff. So you'll be buying it once instead of 4 times.
I didn't know that about your tools. I didn't know you had the lifetime warranty. I'm going to start changing out all my stuff for Jonard tools now.
Yeah, it's called the Made for Life logo.
Wait, I got to throw in the caveat. Anything with a blade, the blade's not warranted.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes sense. 100%.
So
100%.
Now you can ask your other question, Chuck. Sorry.
The pliers, you chip your cutting blade. I want to make the guy happy. That to me is to be expected. I know it's going to happen somewhere. Okay, he's going to try and cut a wire that the tool just can't handle. He's got 2 hands on it and maybe stepping on it, trying to cut it through. We know it happens.
That never happens, Ed. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the blade's like on the coax stripper or something like that. No way.
Yeah.
Or they're using their 9s to cut an 1/8-inch fish tape. Yeah. It takes the little notch out of the cutting edge of the 9s. You know, for those who don't, they're exactly. So your new tools. You always come out with new stuff. What's new?
One of my favorite tools we just released, and I had it at CEDIA, and it was one of the most played with tools at the show, is our new fish tape that works like a rod and reel system. Have you seen it yet?
Yes, I saw the videos.
So it's our part number FTF-1125, and it's, like I said, it works like a rod and reel, so you can push your fish tape in and out on a spool, basically. I can't tell you how many times I've spent in my life where I've been with my father when I was young, and he would pull the stuff out of the wall and hand me his fish tape and walk away, and I'd have to fix it. So this is nice because it's basically self reeling, so it's really easy to use. And I know he knows more than I do. He's on the product side, I'm on the sales side, but I know we have a new iSpy camera coming out. It was just released. So
the new in-wall inspection camera. It's not just in-wall. It's inspect anything. It's Wi-Fi system. It can attach to your glow rod. We can attach it to our telescoping pole. But you use it to inspect anything, tile ceiling. You want to see how bad of a mess it is before you get up there and start doing stuff. You want to see what's going on. You can just stick it right up there, and you just have your phone on the included wristband, and you just sit there and move it around and see what's going on. It's a great product. Great. All you need to do is drill a hole into a wall, probably less than an inch, and stuff it into the wall. You got fire break in there. You got some plumbing or electrical. You got to worry about where are they. You can know at least instead of discovering it afterwards. Not worse than discovering it.
There's a lot of advantage to that. Not knowing where that water pipe is before you drill the hole through the wall for your fire stop system.
Exactly. No worse than drilling the hole, getting the halfway. How come I can't get up anymore? And you're like, oh my God, now what? Now I got to really open this up and shove a 36-inch, 48-inch. Nothing worse than that.
So we just released a new cable comb that will do your Cat 6As. So it's got a bigger slot in it.
I was going to point that out when you were talking about the cable combs earlier. I was going to say, didn't you come out with a new one?
Wayne was nice enough to bring it up now. Yeah, and it's designed for larger cable. So the spoke pieces coming out of the center where you rest the cable are wider. So the other one limits you at 1/4 of an inch. So you're using, at best, you can get your basic our standard RG6. The quad shield, it would never fit in there. So this gives you that, and it'll cover almost any Cat 6A cable. I know there are a couple large ones out there. It was designed to reset, just it all depends what they're at the on it. So, but it'll cover the majority of them.
And didn't you guys also just come out with a new fiber optic launch cable too?
Yeah, we have
absolutely.
I don't know if you want to talk about fiber, but
we can talk about fiber. Not thinking too much about it on the cabling side here, but that launch cable, the box is really trick, I'll call it, because the box has a magnet on it. Okay, so now you can go put it on a rack, and you're not worried where's a lot of the launch cables are either in little reels or they're in a tackle box. Right. Okay, this isn't like that. It even comes with a shoulder strap. You could strap it behind you, and we give you, I believe it's 6 feet of each side. The slick thing with that, the pigtail, is what we refer to it as coming out. Okay, that pigtail is armored cable. So Texas, so you're fumbling with it, and maybe you close the lid on the launch cable on it. It doesn't matter. It's armored. You didn't hit the fiber, and it's a really nice feature. As far as I know, we're the only ones with that.
Yeah, when I saw that post on social media, and you stuck it to that rack, the clouds parted and light came from the sky. I was like, yes.
Yeah. And what's nice about it, you can just spool that right up on the top, so everything's just sitting there waiting for you for the next time you use it.
So
another big thing I've been seeing on social media with you guys is a lot of guys saying they're in the ambassador program. What the heck is that?
Go, Wayne. That's more your side.
Our marketing department's out on this meet. So ambassador program is you can send an email over to our marketing department, and it's the Jonard Gear guys, but it's basically starting up conversations in the industry about Jonard tools. You can sign up as an ambassador. I think there's an ambassador kit that you get, like a hat and a t-shirt and some Jonard stuff, some stickers. Yeah, it's a swag bag, as they say. But basically it's just pushing our, like we say, like just supporting our product in the social world. But like I said,
so for this, some of the we will send new product out to guys to check it out, evaluate us. Tools too. Oh yeah, brand ambassador can borrow tools.
Yes. I say our marketing. I knew marketing was around here somewhere. So yeah.
Well, you guys are doing a terrific job changing the market, making it easy for everybody, and If nobody else
No,
has said this, I want to say right now, thank you for everything that you guys are doing, because I'm telling you, you're making the lives of people in the field a lot better and a lot easier.
well,
It truly is.
thank you very much.
That's our goal.
And thank you for guys like yourself and some of the other guys out there communicating out there, giving people a place to go and listen and learn. It's incredibly valuable, and you do a great job, and we appreciate it. Definitely.
Hey, so Chuck, the other thing that's on our web that I like to talk to people about, because I like Ed and I do a lot of trade shows and we talk to people, and someone always has a great idea, and we're full of great ideas. We're a great idea company. A lot of our products were designed by someone say, "Hey, I have a great idea." So we have an inventors lab on our website. So if you do have a tool idea, you can share it. And Ed is one of the people that will be responding to the idea, our inventors lab. But we've done quite a few products where we've designed with technicians, and it's usually partnerships that we make with these guys, and we design products around ideas. So we do like to make people's lives easier and make your job faster, and that input comes from the field. So yeah, reach out to us and talk to us about it. And like I said, we're pretty up forward and front with people on some ideas. Sometimes we'll say, nope, you're wasting your time. It's a great idea, but you're going to waste money on trying to manufacture it. We'll tell you up front. And we don't, like I said, we don't like to break hearts, because everyone, like I said, I've been on both sides of the coin, but sometimes you need that information. That someone comes to you with an idea and they say, yeah, the manufacturing cost on this is ridiculous because you have your machining, your shipping, all that stuff. So we're going to sell 3. It's not worth it. So so sometimes it's not good to hear about, but sometimes, like I said, the panel buddy that's on our website, my dad invented that years and years ago. And I remember I brought it to Jonard after he paid a lot of money to have it machined, and we sell it as a product under Jonard brand. But like I said, my dad actually has a tool that was invented back about 20 years ago.
Yep.
So like I said, we like to hear from people. So let us know your thoughts.
If somebody comes up with a great idea, how do they contact you?
So you go to jonard.com, and then there's a button called resources, and then there's a tab called inventors lab.
Nice.
And you can just drop it in there, and then like I said, we'll respond to you.
I like the fact that you're listening to the people out in the field, because quite often they get shoved under the carpet and they just go install the cable. You don't know, you're a knuckle dragger. You don't know anything. But they are some of your smartest people you will ever come across.
Yes. And like I said, guys who do it every day for a living, they're probably doing stuff and not telling other people. And it's good to pass on the craft to other people. So
there are guys out there that every day they do their job, they're thinking it better and easier for them. I have guys that I talk to regularly, never met them or anything like that. Just they send their ideas in, and now we're follow each other on LinkedIn or whatever, and I get ideas thrown at me. I can't say everyone's good, but you listen and you see what they're dealing with, and then some things click or something. Okay, I love what you did. Now let me tell you, there's something out there. This is what you look for. Go get it, okay? Because there's something out there that already exists, and it doesn't make financial sense for the company to do it. But I can help you, and you can tell your friends that this exists already.
Nice. Very
cool.
Well, definitely, I appreciate having you guys on today, and I'm gonna take you guys on in the future, because I slated this for literally like a 20-minute interview, and we got talking about tools, and next thing you know, boom.
That's what happens. See, Wayne and I are smiling that we're talking our favorite subject. We're smiling the whole time.
Yeah, this is a typical day for us. We don't get anything done around here. Let's talk about tools.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah. My God, life will be easy.
You can't get a bunch of guys together and not talk about tools and not talk about a lot of things. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and always remember, knowledge is power.
That's it for this episode of today's podcast. We hope you were able to learn something. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Also, leave a rating so we can help even more people learn about telecommunications. Until next time, be safe.